and then start to do it better and better and better. And that's what you have to do. I learned this in college. They had college when I was younger. I learned it in college because in high school, high school was not a good experience for me. I did graduate from high school. I think I did. Yeah, I did. I graduated from high school. And my grade point, well, it was really, really small. I don't want to tell you where it was. It was less than one. And less than one. So I looked around and I thought to myself, this is not going to work. What I'm going to get in the way of employment, what I'm going to get in the way of opportunities in the future, not going to work. They're not going to give me anything. So I decided to go to school and actually go to school. That was one of the problems with high school. I forgot to go. But I decided I better go. So I finished my career in college with a, well, it was a bigger number. It was 4.0. 4.0, okay? Not a bad improvement, right? So that's because my mom was going to pay me for A's. And that's the only way I was going to make any money that year. And so I looked at that and I thought, okay, now that I've parlayed my intelligence quotient into output, now what am I going to do with this? So I looked around and the first thing I saw was an engineering opportunity. I studying was in engineering, okay? So I engineer. And then I was engineer for about a year. And one of the things I noticed about my engineering was I was really bad at it. Really bad. Sucked is the word I use. That seems a little strong, but that's what it was. I was terrible. I was terrible. I don't know if I didn't like it. I don't know what the reason was, but I'll tell you a lot. I would never want to be in a building I designed. Okay? So I know that for sure. And so I looked around and I went to see a professional counselor about this because I was old enough to get it. And so I found this lady in California that had incredible reviews. I mean, just incredible reviews. So I called her up and I said, I wanted to get with you to see if you could help me sort of figure out where my fit is. And she said, okay. She said, well, I can get you in about 6 months. I said, 6 months? I was thinking maybe tomorrow. No, she said 6 months. I'm very busy, very, very, very busy. So I could have gone to somebody else, but she had such a reputation. So I said, okay, I'll wait 6 months. And I did wait 6 months. So at the end of 6 months, I literally ran into her office. I was so excited to get in there because I'd been putting up with it for 6 months. So I go into her office and she sets me back a little right away. She said, well, okay, listen, I'm glad you could make it. She said, now let's go ahead and get started. What are your objectives? I said, excuse me? I said, what? She said, what are your objectives? I said, well, I thought that's what you did. I said, I thought I'd come to you to help set objectives. And then I said, no, somebody gave you some bad information. She said, that's not what at all what I do. She said, you're going to have to reschedule. I said, no, I'm not rescheduling. Are you crazy? I'm not rescheduling. She said, well, if you haven't prepared objectives and how much I can do for you, I'm the one that helps you find out what you need to do to accomplish your objectives. She said, until you get some objectives, you have to reschedule. I said, I'm not rescheduling. I said, while we were talking, some things have come to my mind. And I think that we should go ahead with this. She said, okay, but I don't have a lot of faith in what this is going to turn out. She said, okay, what do you got? What do you got? And I said, okay, I have two have come to mind too, just like that. I said, the first one, and I'm really just saying, I don't want to work. And she looked at me with the honest look on her face, and she said, not at all? I said, well, I prefer not, but if I have to do some of that, I will, but I'd rather not. She said, okay. She said, my career had been moving a little bit. I said, I see why. Maybe just one little downtime. I understand. She said, but you said you had two. What's the other objective? I said, well, this might stymie a little bit too. I want to make a hell of a lot of money. And she said, now, wait a minute. She said, let's recap. Now, if you've ever gone to psychologists, when they say let's recap, you stumped them. They're buying time. Let's recap. So she recapped. She said, let's do it. She said, you don't want to work. You want to make a lot of money. I said, you are good. That is exactly what I said, okay? And so I've been pursuing that ever since. And I get part way sometimes, but most of the time I don't. You need to make up your mind. What do you want to do? And now, when I say don't work, this is what I mentioned earlier. I'm not talking about not working literally. I'm talking about I don't want to change engines. I don't want to do oil. No, I don't want to do anything with my hands. Anything with my hands. Have you seen those mechanics' hands? I mean, I've got a son-in-law that I don't think he's seen skin for years. Because he's a mechanic, okay? Yeah, that's what he does. That's good. Do it then. Don't ask me. I like to do things that are clean. Clean, you know, that you get in the car and it's clean. Not overalls and that kind of thing. But I always have to be careful because somebody in this room may say, well, damn, I love being a mechanic. Yeah, be one. Be the best one you can be. And if that satisfies your personal needs and your family needs, be one. I'm giving you an option. I'm telling you that you can make a lot of money. You can be very satisfied in accomplishment by working in the field of project management. And as that field blossoms, as we talk about 25 million new project managers over the next few years, there's going to be opportunities for everybody. Anybody that thinks they'd like to be a project manager should investigate that. I'm not telling any of you to go out here tonight and say, I'm going to be a project manager, because you don't know for sure yet what that is. Investigate it. Look into it. Look at the options. Because as I saw in Africa, as I see in Saudi Arabia, people who would have never guessed they'd be a project manager are absolutely loving what they do. And that's what you've got to look at. I can't make you be a project manager, but I can expose you to the fact that if you are, there's a high probability you're going to be very satisfied with your life. So that's what I think you need to understand.